Hello everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope we're doing well, and today we'll be talking about Sir Michael Caine, and I know that that's probably making all of my UK brethren go cringe whenever I try and do that accent, but we're going to talk about the news of his retirement / not retirement, and the confusion that has been brought about because of certain comments made, and then certain comments made after the fact, and reporting, and all this nonsense. But before going any further into this story, please make sure you smash that like button, at that fire button if you're watching over on Odyssey, and also make sure you're subscribed to the channel with that bell notification turned on. That way you know every time a new video or live stream goes live on the channel. So we have this article here from Bounding Into Comics, good friends with John F. Trent of Bounding Into Comics, so shout out to him, fellow man of the faith. It says here, Michael Caine denies retirement, admits back problems, and age may limit his future acting roles. And so typically what happens is you normally have either an interview that's taken out of context or a line from an interview taken out of context, which then gets spun into some narrative, and then sometimes the actors or person being interviewed has to actually step up and step out to say, okay, here is what actually was meant by these words. And so it seems like people took the words that he was saying to say he was retiring, that he couldn't do it anymore, when in reality he was trying to point out the fact that, hey, the dude's old. He's been around for a very long time. He's had a very long and storied career. He is still able to deliver, even in the more recent films that he has done. He still has the chops, but because of the fact that he is indeed older, as people get older through time, and also apparently has some back issues as well, that it's going to limit the kinds of films that he can do, and also the number of films that he can do. And so, again, much more of a nuanced take than what everyone else seems to have been saying in the very beginning. As it says here, though Michael Caine gave a statement to the Wrap denying that he was fully retiring from acting, the Tenet and Dark Knight trilogy actor did recently hint that if his new film, Best Sellers, is not his last, his health and age could slow down his future acting schedule. So some people, I think, took that first part and then kind of left off the second part, saying that if Best Sellers is not his last, saying, okay, he's indicating he's retiring, when they should have gone on to the next part where it says that he will at the very least slow down his acting schedule because of health and because of his own age. It goes on here to say, I've got this alcoholic part in Best Sellers, and funnily enough, it has turned out to be what is my last part, really, because I haven't worked for 2 years, Caine said to BBC host in that interview. I have a spine problem which affects my legs, so I can't walk very well, and I also wrote a couple of books, which were published and were successful, so I'm now not an actor, I'm a writer. Caine called this career change lovely, explaining because as an actor, you have to get up at 6 in the morning and go to the studio. The writer can start writing without leaving bed. Again, I think that's a pretty accurate statement there. In a statement to the Wrap, Caine stressed that he wasn't staying in bed to work, and I'm not getting rid of my alarm clock, which he's set for 6 a.m. for the past 50 years. The offers could still get slimmer, however, as he told Kermode and Mayo. There haven't been any offers, obviously, for 2 years, because nobody's been making any movies I'd want to do. But also, I'm 88. That's not exactly scripts pouring out with a leading man who's 88, you know. Even though I would argue that there are probably a ton of stories that can and should be told about older people in general, older men and women, and so I do think that there's absolutely stories to be told. The issue is that modern-day Hollywood doesn't really want to tell those stories. Really, the only one I can think of recently that kind of even goes somewhat in that direction would be a film like The Father, which is a film I still need to see because of the Oscar-winning performance from Anthony Hopkins, and also because I've just heard great things about it, especially for anyone who has any connection with and an understanding of the debilitating and just terrible disease known as Alzheimer's. So this is something that I've, again, been wanting to see for a very long time because of that reason. I know it's going to be hard. I know it's going to be heart-wrenching, but it just shows that there are absolutely stories to be told with older actors. And so it actually makes me kind of sad that Michael Caine has not been getting offers for films that he can actually do, because it just means that Hollywood is probably trying to give him roles that are meant for much younger men, and they really just want to try and use him for his name recognition and more, and not really as much for his acting talent and for a role proper to his actual age. And so this really, to me, is more of an indictment of Hollywood not being focused on telling new, good, and interesting storytellers, is just what I'm getting from this. He goes on to say, Caine made his film acting debut in 1956 as Private Locklear in a war movie, A Hill in Korea. His star rose a decade later in Alfie, which earned him his first Best Actor nomination from the Academy. Eventually, after being nominated time and time again, Caine would win 2 Oscars, one for each of his roles in Hannah and Her Sisters and the pro-abortion drama Cider House Rules, which of course makes me very sad. Today, Caine may be best known for his frequent collaborations with Christopher Nolan. We have to see what the world looks like in a post-COVID era, but Caine's career is not likely to be over. Yeah, and again, this is, I think, something where things were just taken out of context, and I can see where one could obviously pick that up, right? It says, I've got this alcoholic part, and it turns out to be what is my last part, really. So it just seems like he is kind of, reading the lines on the wall saying, hey, I have not gotten a lot of offers the last couple of years because, 1, people aren't making films because of COVID, and 2, the stories that are being told really just don't fit my age demographic. And when it comes to this role, I've put so much heart and soul into it. I mean, just that image right there of Michael Caine in this film, Bestsellers, makes me already want to see it, because I can just tell that Michael Caine is obviously taking this incredibly seriously. But it is, of course, very sad to hear about his spine problem and the impact that that's having on his legs. But I am happy to hear that he is at least finding a second career as a writer. But it does not look like, based on the fact that he has indeed confirmed with other outlets, that he is not retiring kind of in what I would have wished and hoped would have been kind of a Wolf of Wall Street kind of way, where, it's like, oh, yeah, it's the last part, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, just goes, I'm not leaving. I'm not even leaving. Like, that would have been amazing for him to do. But obviously, again, news that is still worth talking about, because Michael Caine, he has a career the size of a tangerine. Anyway, what are your thoughts about this news? Are you happy that Michael Caine is not retiring? Do you have your own thoughts about the way in which this has been spun in the media? Obviously, when it comes to the media getting these things wrong, it's really not all that surprising. But let me know any of your thoughts about that in the comments section below. If you like this video, smash that like button, not that fire button. It really does mean a lot. Still waiting on the final reports on the final estimates for the film Dune, set to come out this weekend. So I will be covering that probably tomorrow morning on the channel. You guys are all amazing, beautiful people. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Shout out to Kara Tharp and also to Bifford the Hobbit on Locals. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my Patreon Subscribestar and Locals members: Andrew Hoyle, animation commentator; Brandon, Brian P., Christopher Bowman, Don Bruno de la Mancha, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father; Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, Harold Francis, Inflamed Wood, Jacob Juice, Jeffrey Toone, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Gomer Kyle, 79, Laura, the Modern Major General's Story, Mike Jackson, Dion, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mondo Spieler, Mr. Peabody, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Priscilla Hall, Rosetta Allen, Stan Andrian, Teresa Martin, Theodore Benden, Tina Bojan, and Tina B., the Empress of the Universe. Thank you for being my Patreon members. And a huge shout out to my Subscribestar members: The R, Fast Reaction, Nosferatu Gatsu, John B., Perpetual Punster, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., Dean Heiss Slash, the new number 2, J-Rod the Beer Guru, and ZK-Man. Thank you very much for supporting me over on Subscribestar. And to my one Locals member, Robert Barnes, thank you for supporting me over on Locals. And if you want a name shouted out, or your name rather, shouted out at the end of every single live stream and video, please consider joining on one of those platforms, either Patreon, Subscribestar, or Locals. Links to that can be found in the description. Look at that top link especially. It's called the Willow link there. It'll give you links to all the social media platforms and also ways to support the channel. If you want to be an Army of Asgard level or above member, you can get access to giveaways that I do every single month. I give away 4Ks, Blu-rays, all kinds of stuff. It is a lot of fun. Also, if you join at the Keeper of the Bifrost level, you get access to all of that. Plus, you get access to an exclusive podcast that I do with John the Flick Pick Flickinger. We have a lot of fun. We do that once or twice a month. And if you join at the Chosen of Valhalla level, you get all of that. Plus, in your first month, you get a t-shirt of your choice and send anywhere in the world. And also, you get to be featured on the channel once a month on the Chosen of Valhalla live stream, where we get to hang out and have a good time. So anyway, if any of that sounds good, check out that link in the top of the video as I mentioned. You guys are amazing and beautiful people. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless.